Hello guys and welcome. It's Engineering Rebel, and in this video I'm going to tear down my engine so we could see what it looks like when it was running from the previous videos. So we'll look at the cylinder, I'll remove the valve cover, the head, as well as the oil pan so we could see the crankshaft and some other components after the engine had ran. So let's just dive right into it. So the valve cover is finally off. Those are the rocker arms. There's the camshaft. And here is inside the valve cover, and you can see how there is oil that is slaying everywhere, and that's when the rocker arms are going up and down very quickly. It's obviously slinging oil, but nothing like, nothing that's not normal. Everything seems normal. I don't see anything weird. It just looks like it's normally lubricated and everything seems to be just fine. As I turn the crankshaft, oh, it's leaking. Oh, it's pushing oil out of the oil outlet. But otherwise, you can see how the rocker arms are pushing up and down on the valves. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the head bolts so we can remove the head. Now I got the head bolts loose, but I'm also going to loosen the spark plug and remove it. Oh, it's already loose, so we can get a better look. Oh, okay, the spark plug is finally removed. I'm sure you can remove the head. Actually, no, I have to first remove the timing belt before I can get the head off. So let me get these head bolts off, and then I'll remove the timing belt, and I think it should come off. So I also went ahead and removed the fan pulley, and I'm looking at the valves, and I actually see something pretty cool. Now this one, right next to this hole, is the intake valve, so this would be our spark. So because it's a carbureted engine, as your intake valve opens, the air and the fuel would come through this valve. But this is the exhaust valve, and if you look at it, it's darker. Now, I know what that is. Now, when the piston goes down, it's the intake stroke, then it compresses the air, and then there's a power, the explosion. And as the piston comes back from the power stroke, it's moving back out, it's pushing those exhaust gases out of the valve. And you could see that because this is the exhaust valve, and it's the valve that opens and closes to let the exhaust out, it's actually much more darker than the intake. And you could see all that carbon. So it's much darker than the intake because the intake fuel keeps coming out of it. It keeps washing and keeping it clean. But the exhaust valve, because it's always releasing the exhaust gases and not fuel, it's turning brown. So, and that's normal. It's not like it's damaged or anything, but it's just something I wanted to point out. And that's the head gasket. I can just remove it if I go like this. And there we go. The head gasket's off. And then this is the carburetor. And yeah, everything else seems pretty normal. And let's look at the cylinder. And here's the piston. Nothing unusual. It's kind of yellowed, but I'm sure that's from the flame and the combustion. And some kind of chemical reaction caused the sleeve to turn yellow, but I don't see anything that's not normal. The compression is nice, and as I'm turning it, I could feel the oil outlet pushing out air, and that's a very good sign, showing that this engine indeed does have compression and the piston ring is doing its job. So now I'm probably going to remove the oil pan and let's see what's happening under there, and I think I'll wrap up the video. So let's take a look inside the crankcase. There we go. And it looks relatively normal. I could see the oil, and I don't see any metal shavings, which is a good thing. The number one thing that you do not want to see in an oil pan is metal shavings. That is a terrible sign, and that means you're not getting proper lubrication. So I don't see any metal shavings, and the oil, it's very clean. I'm dipping my finger in it, and it's very clean. The oil is very smooth, and I don't feel any metal shavings. So the parts are well lubricated. And here's the crankshaft. And you can see how it's turning. I'm gonna put my second lens so you guys can see better. Here's the crankshaft. It actually turns this way, sorry. And you can see how that would raise and lower the piston. And this would be our starter clutch, and this is what would engage the motor to start. But yeah, it's working beautifully. And I also replaced the crankshaft seals yesterday, and it was working great. So yeah, this is pretty much what it looks like, and I'm pretty much gonna wrap it up here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna clean all these parts and assemble it tomorrow. Probably display it on my desk. So thank you guys so much for watching and being a part of this build. Again, I will post more videos probably in regards to this engine, maybe compared to an electric motor. But yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next one, and please stay safe out there.